what a lot of people don't realize. This is why I can't answer that question, okay? And I wish I could, but this is why I can't answer the question, how much should you be charging, is because there's so many factors that go into how much you should be charging, right? Okay, so welcome back to the channel, you guys, and welcome to my very first YouTube video podcast show. I am so excited to be able to launch this. I've talked about this with my team. Also, if you are a part of our email list, you've seen some emails go out. So today is the very first episode. So let me go ahead and get my episode number up in here. This is episode, I guess we're going to do 001, okay, of this podcast. So the podcast show is called the ECE Unplugged show. This is where we are going to have candid conversations. It is going to be unedited, very raw and real, and it's not going to be very polished, but the content that I'm going to be giving to you is going to be the same type of style content that I would give to my clients. And so the way that in my brain, when I'm sitting down doing these podcasts, is I'm going to talk to you just like if I was talking to a client or, you know, a member of one of our programs, and I'm just going to give you the lowdown. So I am excited to be here. This is a little bit different for me. It's not scripted. I don't have any, I just have a little bit of notes over here, but you know, I'm just going to go with it. So I hope that you do like this. What I will say is that I am actually accepting guests for the show. So if you would like to be a part of the show and you want to hop on Zoom with me, you can actually apply to be a guest. And I, in return, okay, so this is how this works now, okay? So you know it just can't be like you're gonna hop on here and all that. But in return for you being on the show, you are actually going to get a 30-minute complimentary consulting session with me about whatever topic that you are dealing with, okay? So I am really this year wanting to really focus on community for my platform. I want to have real conversations. You guys know I love to talk, and I would love to talk to you instead of me talking directly into this camera lens. And it's, you know, and it's kind of always me here. And so that is what we're doing. So again, welcome to the ECE Unplugged video podcast show here on YouTube. And I'm going to hop in. All right, let me go in and we're going to talk about how you should actually be setting your tuition for 2024. And this is one of the questions that I do get asked a lot is, Ashley, what should I be charging? And the quick answer to that is, honey, I don't know what you should be charging, okay? That is a loaded question, and there is a lot of things that come into what you should be charging, such as how much is your payroll gonna run you? What is your operating expenses gonna be? Obviously, what is the market going to be able to handle for what you charge? Like, is the market gonna be able to take the rates or the tuition that you have in mind for charging? There's so many different factors that go into charging and what tuition that you should be setting. And so I never like to just throw out like a blanket number as to what the going rate is or things like that, because it's going to be different for everybody, right? What I am going to do right now is I'm going to show you, or just kind of at least explain to you how we, and how when I'm working with clients, how we help them come up with that the right tuition to charge that's going to be a best fit for their business. And it really, honestly, it all goes back to profit. Okay, that's where everything that we do with budgeting goes back to. So I can look at several different workbooks that we have, and we do have what's called our 9-tab Excel workbook. It is it's what I use when I ran my center. It's what my clients use, and so it's all connected and it does all the things for you. So you just enter in the numbers, and then it will tell you once you get to that the profit tab, it will tell you whether you are in the green, okay, which means that we are profiting at least 15%, or whether we are in the red. And so that's what we use. So I'm going to actually go over, I'm going to pull it up right now, and I'm going to go over with you just exactly what I would go over with the client when we are trying to choose the tuition. So the first thing that we do is the first thing that you want to do is, obviously, you do want to go in and you do want to do a market research, okay? So this is, a lot of people like to kind of go and they want to, kind of like make this seem like it's just a big project to go in and do market research. You can literally have this done in a day or two, okay? And so what I always tell my clients is that what you want to do is just call around. Like, just call around at some of these centers. And I would say call around at what you would say would be your competitor. So if you're doing this in your home, then you want to try to find out what the other home childcare businesses are charging. And if you're doing it in a center, you want to charge, or you want to find out what that is too. But the easiest way to do it is just start calling around, okay? You can even go to the website. Some centers, not all of them, but some centers do have where you can kind of go in, type in your information, and then it's going to spit out their tuition in exchange for your email address. So you can do it that way. But honestly, that's what you're just going to call around and just kind of get an estimate of what that looks like. Also, Google. So just Google, what is the average childcare tuition in my state? Okay, and that will kind of give you a range as well. But again, whatever the average is, whatever other people are charging, obviously that's going to give you a roundabout of what you should be charging. But it's really going to go back to what is actually going to work for your specific location, your center, your home, whatever that you're doing. And it's really going to go back to what's going to be profitable for you. So the first thing that you do want to decide on is what your programs are going to be. Okay, so this is infant, toddler, preschool, afternoon care, after school care. What type of programs are you going to be offering? Okay, and when I talk about programs, I'm specifically talking about a program. So preschool program, infant, like I said, infant, toddler, preschool. Now I will tell you that I don't recommend my clients to charge by the age, but we charge by the day. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But I do recommend charging by the day and not charging by the age. Okay. And I know some of y'all might have questions about that. How does that work? The best way that I can describe it to you in the little amount of time that I have right now on this video is that it works just like the hotels do. Okay, so it's almost like you are charging by the day, and then you're having it where you have these slots that get filled. So that's the easiest way I can explain it to you without, going just for the sake of this video. Okay, I don't want this to be like extra long. Those are the things though that I do get deep into when I'm working with clients. So I will tell you that. Now, once you kind of find out what or how you're going to be charging, okay, and the programs that you're going to be charging, then you're going to go back to that average rate. You're going to start keying that in, okay? So right now, you should have something that you're using to do an actual budget, okay? This is definitely not on paper. So I will tell you that this is not, y'all do not need to be doing this on paper. God, we are talking about a program that could be revenuing $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. You do not want to be doing that on a restaurant napkin, chicken scratch, that kind of thing, right? Like, you need to have a tool that's going to have all you do is input, and it's going to tell you what the output is, and then you can adjust it, based off that. But you do want to be using something. So of course we do have our 9-tab Excel workbook that we use. And again, it will do all that for you. Okay, so once you kind of figure out what those numbers are going to be, and then what you want to do from there is, now we also need to know how many children do you actually need at that rate to be able to be profitable. So a lot of people would like to kind of start off with like saying, well, I want to do a center of 50 students. And I get that number all the time. Or I hear people say, I want to go really small. Like, I don't want to do it too large. I want to be kind of very small. And that is not going to be the way that you're going to want to do, or the route that you want to take, or that's not the way that you should be thinking. Because the amount of children that you get in and the amount that you're charging is going to reflect your profit numbers, okay? So what I will tell you is that 30 students is not going to be enough to profit. That I already know, okay? Unless you are charging, probably most likely going to be charging over the average going rate in your community. And if you go over that, then most likely you're going to have parents that are not going to pay. So that I will tell you right off the bat, like 30 kids, 30 students is not going to be enough, okay? But we do need to know how many children, if you're going to charge at whatever rate that you have. So just exercise if you want to do this right now. But for those of you that are already in business, take what you're charging, or if you're already thinking about, you already know kind of what you do want to charge. Take that number right now, and what I want you to do is I want you to times it by your desired number of students. And but basically the kind of ratios for everything should be that you are profiting at least 15%. If you're profiting at 15%, then this is going to leave you with about 75% towards payroll and 10% towards your operating expenses. So that's kind of going to be those ratios that you're gonna want to follow by. And don't hold me on those, because again, our workbook usually make sure that we get into all that. But typically that's what I always say. 75% towards payroll costs, 10% towards operating expenses, and then this should leave that 15% profit margin, which should leave you enough profits. And then from there, we do have what we call our plan to profit. And then we actually budget what our profit numbers are going to look like. So like our working capital, how much are we going to be putting in savings, all of those things. Okay. So, I don't even know where I was at, but we're going to just keep on moving on. Okay. So basically, talked about the payroll expenses. I talked about the operating expenses and what those need to look like. And then we get into the profit. So, the amount of children. Yes. So we also know that the amount of children is also going to be based on the square footage per child. So if you're new to this industry, every state is going to require you to have a certain amount of square footage per child, indoor and outdoor. Right now we're focused on the indoor. And so in the state of Kentucky, where I am located at, it is 35 square feet per child. What that means is that there has to be 35 square, what that means is what it means. It's got to be 35 square feet per child. So if you have a classroom, you want to have, let's say 15 students in that one room, okay? Then 35 square feet per child is going to be times, so you're going to do the square footage times the amount of children that you want to have in there. That means that you're going to have that room size is going to have to be at least 525 square feet. Okay, so that's how you get the number. You just basically take what the square footage, the requirements are, you times it by the amount of children that you want to have in that room. That's going to give you the overall square footage for that classroom space or whatever. And this also goes, the same if you're doing this out of your home. Okay, so once we get that, then that obviously is going to give us what our sales revenue is going to be. But I really just want to stop it there. Like that's really how you come up with your prices. That's just really it. A lot of this is you're going to play around with numbers. Okay. That's really what you're doing. You're going to play around with the numbers until it gets you to a profit margin. Okay. Now with that though, what you're charging also, and I just said this, but it also has to cover what? Payroll. Okay. It's got to be enough to cover the payroll. It's got to be enough to cover the operating. So what we do and what the budget does is that, so I have this tab here. It's going to plug in that number and it's going to tell you, okay, if you're going to be at $50,000 a month, then we hop over to the payroll expense tab. This is going to give you X amount, right? Then you have X amount towards your payroll, okay? And it's going to tell you that. It's going to say you have an X amount of budget towards your payroll. Then your job there is to design your payroll to fit into that budget. And this will pop up on this spreadsheet, okay? It will tell you the exact number that you need to have for the towards your payroll budget. So it's going to give you, it's almost like it's going to give you, it's kind of like a game. It's like a game. It's going to give you some, it's going to say, okay, you want to charge these rates. Here's how much revenue that's going to be. Here is some money that you're going to take to be able to get your payroll expenses down. You've got to figure this out within this range. Okay. And so then that leads into, and this is what a lot of people don't realize. This is why I can't answer that question, okay? And I wish I could, but this is why I can't answer the question, how much should you be charging, is because there's so many factors that go into how much you should be charging, right? And so then if we're trying to get that payroll, because mind you, okay, now we have some revenue coming in, but again, we've got to pay people, y'all. And in the words of Taraji P. Henson, okay, the math has got to be mathin', okay? I don't know if y'all been keeping up with that. I have been so keeping up with all that that's been going on with the Color Purple movie and all the things, okay? Anyway, but the math has got to be mathin', right? So with that being said, what does that mean? For us to come up with a payroll schedule, a payroll amount, what does that mean? Well, you've got to know how many teachers do you need for the amount of students that you just put in there for that revenue. Does that make sense? So this is why this is such a loaded question that I can't just answer on the fly. And I don't want to do that because I'm going to be steering people wrong. So then that leads us to our next tab that we have inside of our non-tab Excel workbook that goes over a staff scheduling tab. You need to come up with a schedule that makes sense to the amount of children that you are wanting to service. Okay, so if you want to serve 60, 80 students, then you need to come up with a schedule that's going to cover and ensure that you are, within the staff to child ratio. You want to be sure to come up with a schedule for that, right? Why? Because, well, the hours that the staff and teachers come in is going to do what? Well, it's going to determine how much money is going out for payroll expenses, right? And that money determines how much money that we then have left over for operating expenses, which then determine our profit, okay? So again, I can't give you that number, okay? But what I can do, and as I close out this video, because I don't even know where I'm at with the time, but I'm going to go ahead and just start wrapping it up, because I feel like that you should understand that A, you need to be using some sort of a tool to help you do this, okay? B, you need to understand that you also, besides how much you should be charging, you also need to be aware of what your payroll expenses are going to run, what your operating expenses are going to run, right? Like those numbers are going to factor in how much you should, because here's what's has happened several times. I will get a client or member that comes in. They say, Ashley, this is how much, the going rate is in my town. I'm going to charge this. I said, okay, great. Let's put that number in first. Okay. Let's go through the payroll expenses, right? Let's get a scheduling for the amount of children that you have desired. And let's see if that's going to work. And then we'll go through all of that and we'll come back and say, the profit margins are at we're not hitting our profit margin. So guess what we got to do? What does that mean? Well, we're either going to have to do what? A, you're going to have to cut down on your payroll costs. B, you're going to have to cut down on your operating expenses. Or C, you're going to have to go up on your prices, which most people that I see have to go up on their prices. Like a lot of y'all are just not charging the right prices. Okay. So yeah, it's just a loaded question. It's one that, again, I can't just answer right on the fly, but what I can do as I close out this, my first little video podcast, and we will get better at this, y'all. I'm going to have all the wheels and the deals. I know I see a lot of podcasts. They've got like these special little lights. I don't know if I'm going to do all that because I don't like the lighting. I think it looks cool, but for my set, I like to keep it really nice and white and airy and bright and cheery. So anyway, we'll get better at the podcast. But what you can do, okay, and this is what we're doing right now, is this month, okay, I am going to be launching our budget. What is it called? Oh my goodness. Okay. And I'm not going to edit this out because y'all, I've had so much going on. And it is called our budget. What is the name of the program that we're going to be offering? It is, oh, budget blueprint. There we go. I was like, oh my goodness, y'all don't know how much is going on in the background, okay? But the budget blueprint course, where your key to unlocking grants and funding capital. So what we're doing with clients is that we are getting our budget set up. We're going through these numbers, and what we're doing is then we're going in and we are helping them apply for grants and researching for grants and doing all the things. But before you can even do that, you've got to get these numbers right. And so this is if you're trying to, whether you're trying to launch or you're trying to expand, or even if you're just running your childcare business, like you need to know what you should be charging, not just this year, but every year, right? Every year you need to know what you should be charging. So, so what I will tell you is that if you're interested in being a part of that, okay, my husband called. I'm not going to cut that out either. We're just going to leave it. Anyway, I'll probably cut out a little bit, but anyway, so if you are interested in getting access to the workbook and then getting access to everything that I go over right now and having it done in more of a step-by-step, then this month only, I am going to be releasing our budget blueprint course. This is a 2024 version. And so this course, literally what I'm doing is I'm pulling out the content information that I normally allow members and clients to have access to. We're just going to pull that out and just going to make it a single course that you can purchase. And it's going to have, you're going to have access to the 8-tab Excel workbook, and all the step-by-steps. It's really broken down into step-by-steps, and then this is going to help you be able to come up with how much you should be charging. So we also are going to be launching this month as well our operations automation course, the staffing edition. So if you are struggling with staffing and you're having the issues of trying to attract the right kind of staff, and do all those things, we will be also releasing that course as well. But if you're interested in when the course is going to be available and you want to get access to early bird specials and all the little things we're going to be doing, then all you've got to do is just get on the wait list. And all that's saying is that, hey, Ashley, I'm interested, girl. Let me know when you've got that course ready. I'm going to be interested in looking more into what you got going on. Okay, so there's going to be the link in the description box. We'll have that down below for you to access the wait list. Also, if you're not a part of my email list, which if you get on the wait list, you'll automatically be a part of the email list. But if maybe you're not into the budget blueprint, you're like, hey girl, I don't really need that. What I will tell you is get on the email list, okay? I will be sure to leave that link down below, because this month for the community, we've got a slew of activities going on. Y'all, I've got stuff going on every single week for the community to get involved with. And inside of our Facebook group, okay, this is for just our private Facebook group community, we've got weekly stuff, and we're giving away free PDFs, free downloads. We just got a lot of stuff going on in there as well. So y'all, I'm so excited. What I will say is that I have been able to grow my team. And so it's just amazing because I feel like I have the resources that I need to be able to really enrich my community and really bring in that community feel and just really be able to provide as much value that I can to be able to help you, with your journey. So, okay, y'all, I've got to get off of here. We started homeschooling, and so I've got to get my daughter off to an appointment, and we got to leave in 10 minutes. So I hope that I hope this was valuable to you. And, I hope that this kind of at least got you thinking on the way that you should be thinking. And I don't know, this could help you. Maybe you already have a tool that you use and you're just you're like, okay, Ashley, I never thought about that. Like, this is exactly what I needed. Whatever the case is there. Anyway, I hope that you got some value out of today's podcast, our first podcast of ECE, what we're calling it, the podcast number 001, I think is what we would do. So, but yeah, I'm super glad that you're here. So just look in the description box for all of the details and things that you can get involved with. Hop on that wait list so that you know when we're going to be releasing that course this month. Our budget blueprint course is going to walk you through all this. And then leave any comments that you have. Y'all know, do all the things, okay? And give me a thumbs up for this video as well. What I will tell y'all is that, again, we'll get better at this. I'm going to get the microphone and all that. But this is your reminder as well to, not let anything stop you from just doing what you need to do. and just do the thing. Like, just take the first step. You don't have to have all the things. This was not my initial, vision for my first podcast. But at the same time, I need to get this information out to you guys. It's already February. I haven't even recorded a YouTube video. And, I'm like, I just gotta push the record button and just hit it. So hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you on our next video podcast. And hopefully we'll also have a way for you guys to listen to this as well. Okay, y'all, I got to get off of here. I'm getting ready to get long-winded. So thank you for joining. And yeah, everything is going to be in that description box below. Bye.